It's a privilege for us to have Professor Brien Holden, CEO of the Brien Holden Vision Institute, here with us. Brien, over the last 3 decades, you played a leadership role in optometry globally. Now, over these 3 decades, how have you seen optometry change? Not just here in India, but globally. What are the big changes you've seen?
Well, firstly, let me say it's a great pleasure to be here. I love India, and it's a wonderful place to be. And of course, the reputation of India for innovation and development is phenomenal, and we have great friends here in India. Yes, optometry's changed a lot since I graduated in optometry in 1965 and completed my PhD in 1971. And it's changed in, firstly, the scope of optometric practice, where optometrists are now giving full scope eye care, vision, refractive error, everything to do with binocular vision, detection of disease, treatment of disease in some countries and so forth. So optometry's developed what it does for the patient that seeks the optometric opinion. Secondly, optometry has developed in terms of the recognition of the importance of the work of optometry, both nationally and internationally. In 2006, for example, the World Health Organization Director General came out and said the number one cause of blindness and impaired vision throughout the world was uncorrected refractive error. And of course that places a big obligation on optometry to be involved in providing vision care for the 625 million people who are blind or vision impaired simply because they don't have a pair of glasses. Thirdly, the contribution of optometry to knowledge through research and understanding of conditions such as myopia and eye diseases and the way we see, basic science and so forth, has been very significant, and optometry has developed as a profession because it is knowledge-based and because it generates knowledge. If you don't generate knowledge as a group of professionals, then it's more of a technical training program rather than a professional training program. So in all of those areas, optometry has developed very significantly, aimed at a better contribution to the eye health and vision of people at large.
But there must be quite a bit of unfinished business, things that haven't happened, but you would be keen to see it happen globally. And what would they be?
Well, optometry's role as a socially responsible profession looking after people in need has always been there, and it's always been addressed by individuals, but collectively optometry only really took on a major global role for people in need as a result of the uncorrected refractive error realisation. There have always been optometry missions to various places, but the whole idea of development these days is very much centred around building self-sustainable capacity in countries, in all countries, and especially in countries in need, so that there are delivery systems that are accredited and well constructed and provide an excellent service for the people who need to have their vision and their eye health checked, as well as to provide them with the optical correction for the future.
And I do understand you being to India probably more than 70 times. And over the last 3 or 4 years, you've been instrumental in setting up structures and frameworks, within India. And I was just wondering, what is your big vision for optometry in India?
Well, I think that largely optometry in India post-independence, 1947, was sort of a haphazard development of an optical profession like it was in Australia and all around the world and in similar times. In Australia, for example, the Optometrist Registration Act was passed by Parliament, I think in 1960. That hasn't happened yet in India. The government has not recognised optometry as an independent profession, requiring registration, requiring standardised training in order to provide a consistency of service to all people in need. So there's a lot of unfinished business with regard to bringing optometry together as a profession, and I must say that working with 47 or so organisations that represent optometry to put together the Indian Optometry Federation was a very rewarding experience. People like Rajesh Wadhwa and Rajbir Burwell, who represented the National Ophthalmic Association and the Indian Optometry Association, were leaders in the field of getting all of the optometric groups together. And here I use optometry in the general sense of anybody who's doing eye examinations, refractions. In the case of the ophthalmic assistants, they do first aid and other procedures too to help people with eye problems. So getting all of those professions together under one umbrella, the Indian Optometry Federation, was quite a challenge, and those two people that I mentioned, plus a number of others, like Vivek Mendoza from the ASCO organisation, and all of those organisations coming together with the one voice for optometry is very important. And out of that came the Optometry Council of India, which is a peer-reviewed organisation set up by the profession in order to get acceptable standards for training institutions and also for individuals.
And I mean, with World Sight Day, coming in less than a week, is there a message you want to pass on to the optometrist in India, to take the profession forward?
Well, there are massively important messages in India. Firstly, there are more than 100 million people in India who do not have the vision that they need, and it could be easily dealt with by an eye examination and a pair of spectacles. There are probably another 15 million people who have eye disease, half of which is undetected and untreated, and optometry can play a major role in that screening for that eye disease and referring appropriately. In terms of optometry's working together to support registration of individual optometrists and recognition of individual schools, that's extremely important, as is guaranteeing those who have had less than optimal training in optometry, maybe a 2-year diploma or 2-year diploma plus experience, or 3 years plus experience and so forth, having pathways for them to attain the level by 2020 of 4-year professional optometry. Because all around the world, optometry has become a profession that's guaranteed by a 4-year university degree training program and experience in order to detect eye disease, to evaluate refractive error, to provide optical appliances, to fit contact lenses, to deal with children's vision problems, to deal with community eye health problems, to deal with protection of the eyes from trauma and so forth. All of these things are roles and responsibilities of optometrists, and every individual optometrist should play a role in advancing vision care to their individual patients that consult with them, and should play a role in bringing together the profession to guarantee a quality service for India.
Thank you so much, Professor Holden, for taking the time and talking to us.
It's my pleasure, and I hope also that the Indian cricket team again rises to a challenging level in relationship to the Australian cricket team, I jest. But it's wonderful to be in India, and I love the country, I love the people, and I look forward to a vibrant and organised profession providing an excellent service to the 1,200 million people in India.
Thank you so much.